Hello, I'm Snow White. I live with my mom and my sister Rose Red. My sister and I share everything with each other. We love to walk through the woods hand in hand. Sometimes we lose track of time and wander until the late hours of the night. When this happens, we lie together and sleep until it is light again. Mama knows we are safe and sound in the woods with our animal friends. One morning, when we awoke, there was a child dressed in white. The child looked at us and ran off into the trees. Mama said it had to have been the angel that watches over us since we take such good care of her and our cottage. We love to tidy up our home. Rose Red takes care during the summer. I just love how she gathers roses from our red and white rose trees out front and places them at Mama's bed before she wakes up. I take care during the winter. I get the fire going and put on the kettle. There was a night when it began to snow. We were sitting by the fire when suddenly there was a knock at the door. Rose Red ran to the door to hurriedly let in what was probably a traveler looking for warmth. When she opened the door, it was a bear. We hastily ran and hid, scared of the bear, but the bear spoke, telling us he was friendly and just needed to warm up by the fire. Mama welcomed the bear in, easing us of our fear. The bear was covered in snow, so Rose Red and I scoured his fur until the snow was all gone. He then could rest by the fire to warm himself. The bear became our friend. Mama invited him to stay the night, and he did. When morning came, he left, but he began to come back again and again at the same time every evening. Rose Red and I got to play with him each night. It was such fun. Bear was always welcome. When spring came, the bear said he had to go. He said he had to protect a treasure from some mean dwarfs. He did not have to worry about them in the winter because they were trapped underground by the snow, but once the snow melts, they are nasty thieves, taking whatever they can. I was sad Bear had to leave. He had become a great friend of ours. Later that day, Mama sent us out to collect some wood for the fire. As we were wandering, we came upon a tree where there was a little man jumping up and down. It was a dwarf. His beard was so long it had gotten stuck in a piece of the tree. When he noticed us, he yelled at us to help him. He got mad at Rose Red for asking what happened, but he went on to tell us that he had been trying to get some wood for his own fire. We tried and tried to get his beard unstuck. Rose Red offered to go get someone else, but the dwarf refused since he did not want us there in the first place. He was being so mean, so I grabbed my scissors and snipped his beard near the root of the tree. As soon as he was free, he snatched a hidden bag of gold and cursed us for cutting his beard, and ran off without even a thank you. Another day we were out again to search for wood. Walking by a creek, we thought we saw a gigantic grasshopper jumping towards the water. We ran closer to see, but it was again the dwarf. Rose Red again inquired about his actions. The dwarf was rude as last time, explaining that a fish was trying to drag him into the water. He had been fishing and a gust of wind had gotten his beard caught in the fishing line. Then a big fish bit the line, but the dwarf was not strong enough to pull it out. We tried all we could to untangle his beard, but the line was too entangled. I had no choice but to pull out my scissors and cut his beard. He was not too happy about that. He cursed us again, grabbed a bag of pearls, and ran off. A little while later, Mama sent us into town to get some supplies. On our way there was a big bird circling above us, descending with each swoop. It landed ahead of us with a horrible noise. We ran to see what had happened, and that is when we saw the dwarf again. The bird had attacked him and was about to fly away with him. We grabbed at him, pulling him from the bird. The bird let him go, but we had torn his coat trying to rescue him. The dwarf was not happy with us. He grabbed a bag of precious stones and ran off again. We continued into town. On our way back, we saw the dwarf dumping out his stones. It was late, so we had surprised him because he did not think anyone would pass at the time in the evening. The stones were so pretty we could not help but stare. He was very angry that we had stopped. Suddenly, from the woods, we heard a familiar growl. Our friend the bear appeared, frightening the dwarf. The dwarf had no time to escape, so instead he offered all his jewels to the bear in return for letting him go. Bear swiped the dwarf with his paw, killing him on the spot. We had ran away, but the bear shouted after us. We waited for him, and when he caught up to us, his fur dropped off his body. Suddenly, he shifted into a man dressed in gold. He said he was a king's son, and that the dwarf had cursed him. It was the dwarf's death that had set him free. Years later, after Rose Red and I grew up, I was wedded with a prince, who was once a bear. Rose Red wedded his brother. The dwarf's treasure was split upon us two couples, and we lived in bliss with our old mama and our husbands.